If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. What is there to be thankful for? You know what's funny is all the negative people will look at the title and say, why are you so negative? All the positive people will look at that title and say, oh, it's a question. The sad thing is the folks who need to watch the video the most are the ones that are going to be so mad at the title they won't watch it. If you really think about our year, it has been a miserably tough year. Last Thanksgiving, we were here in Missouri, taking Beck back and forth to the hospital to get chemo and radiation treatment 4 days a week. I think it was 5 days a week. And then we went back to Florida. You know, it was pretty cold in Florida last year. All the locals were just absolutely miserable. You know, we were at a hunt camp, and you know, the hunters would come out and they wouldn't even go hunting. They said it was too cold. You know, then we fast forward until April, and someone broke into our camper, our home, okay? Everything we owned was in it. Everything in it burned. They burned it down to the ground to cover up the crime of stealing the food. Well, then we had to scramble around and dip into our emergency fund. Again, remember, because you know, I had to take Beck back and forth to the hospital, that all came out of the emergency fund. And so here, within, what, 4 months, we're back dipping into our emergency fund again. You know, really questioning, can we continue to do this, spending that kind of money every few months, you know, through the summer? We're trying to learn and adapt to living out in the national forest without a lot of resources. Because the first part of the adventure, we were trying to, you know, we stayed at places with water, close to resources when we had the pop-up. But with the truck camper, we got out more remote, which probably was a mistake because Carolyn's anxiety was so high because of Carolyn's daughter. We now know. We didn't know why. We didn't know why she was having so many issues. But we now know that Carolyn's daughter was making her anxious from having, you know, cancer. Well, then we found out, Carolyn's daughter sent us a note and said that she went in for a scan and it came back, you know, no cancer. Awesome relief. Well, I don't remember all the specific dates or how long or anything, but then she went back again shortly thereafter, and it had come back, and it had come back with a vengeance. It had spread from, you know, her lymph node into her lymph nodes, into her lungs. I mean, it was everywhere. The way Beck described it to us says it lit up the board. So here we are again back in Missouri, waiting for Beck to die. And that's just a really hard thing to take. So what is there to be thankful for? After all of that tough misery and dwelling and working, well, there's a lot to be thankful for. I'm thankful that I got to know Beck. I didn't know her very well. You know, Carolyn and I have only been in a relationship for 4 years, and Beck is an adult, so, you know, we didn't really go visit her that much. She had her life, we had ours. The camper burned down, I've said before, was a blessing. Believe it or not, it was a blessing. I've said before, I don't think we would have continued the adventure if we'd have stayed in the pop-up camper. You know, we went through these 3 stages of emotional development I've talked about before. Stage 1, you know, it's all exciting and new, and you're all just running around trying to do everything. Stage 2, you're starting to question, is it exciting? And then stage 3 is when you decide whether or not you're going to do it or not. And it took about a year. It took about a year to figure all this out. Well, at the same time, our camper burned down. And when we got back into our new truck camper, we saw a whole new light, a whole new aspect on this adventure that we didn't see before. And the camper has just made it so much easier to be a nomad. The trailer was just too much. And as a result of it being too much, it burned down. With the camper, with the new camper, I did something I wouldn't have been able to do with the pop-up. I went and visited my daughter. And this was important. I hadn't seen her in several years because, you know, she was up in college and, you know, she met her biological father, so she didn't really, I adopted my daughter when she was 2. And when she she met her biological father, she kind of took me out of her life for a while. But I said to her, I said, you know, we're coming through Iowa to go to South Dakota, and I'd love to visit. And I said, you know, can I stop by? And she did. She wanted me to stop by. Well, we wouldn't be able to do that in the pop-up. There was no place around to camp or anything, so, you know, we just went and visited her, and then we just continued on our trip, stopping at rest areas to stay the night, because Iowa allows you to stay 24 hours in their rest areas. So, I mean, that was just perfect. And I'm very grateful for that, very thankful. Well, then we got to go to South Dakota, and Carolyn and I both absolutely loved the grasslands. The most breathtaking thing I think I've ever seen. It was just absolutely amazing. And we wouldn't have, I don't think we would have done that one without the truck camper also. It was just too windy. The pop-up would have been too much. It would have been too much for the pop-up. We would have constantly been worried about the wind gust hitting that pop-up and tearing it up. Well, of course, we had to come back to Missouri. We got to do the hard thing, and we got to watch, you know, Carolyn's daughter pass away in front of our eyes. But here's the thing. We're in a camper that allows us to do that. You know, I don't think we would have been able to do that again in the pop-up. That means our adventure would have been over. I'm not trying to say that we wouldn't have stopped. We would have stopped. We would have stopped the adventure to spend the final moments with Carolyn's daughter. But with the truck camper, we don't have to. I hope the negative people watch this video all the way through. I hope the positive people stay positive, and I hope you all find something to be thankful for in the last year, because there's a lot to be thankful for. No matter how bad you had it, there's something to be thankful for, and you need to focus on that, because that changes your perspective. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.